All right, good day, guys. We are gonna get into week two now. You guys have an assignment due today as well, so I'm gonna try and make this as fast as possible, and then you guys can get into your assignment, get that completed before class ends. Okay, so talking about the global economic environment and the global trade environment. Okay, guys, this is pretty straightforward, standard stuff. Okay, so what are some major changes in the world economy that happened in the past few decades? What we really saw, number one, was a tech invasion, right? So look at 2013. You see that you have 416 billion was Apple, right? Exxon, gasoline. Berkshire Hathaway, finance. Who's here? PetroChina, also gasoline. Walmart, online. Walmart, not really. They had stores where people go in and shop. Okay, shopping. Now look at the top five publicly traded markets in 2018. Every single one of them is a tech company, right? So the invasion of tech, we saw tech just bursting onto the scene, right? Um, it's incredible what's happening in the past couple of decades, what we've been seeing. Now, what's the next one? Evolution of money, right? Central banks have opted to create trillions of dollars of currency out of thin air since the financial crisis, right? So inflation is going so high because people are just creating money out of thin air. The world banks, right? In order for people to borrow, regardless of what is money and what is not, people are borrowing records amount of it. So there's a lot high borrowing when it comes to money, and the world has now amassed 247 trillion in debt, including 63 trillion borrowed by central governments. So the total world is in 247 trillion dollars in debt to like the World Bank and to a bunch of other corporations and stuff, right? So if you look right now, percentage of world debt, you see United States and Japan and China are like the top three, right? And France, UK, Italy, Germany, right? Canada's in there a little bit too, right? So look how many people are. So the evolution of money really is, now you're having people able to acquire more cash when they need it. When back in the day it wasn't. If it was the cash wasn't there, the cash wasn't there. Okay, major changes in the world economy in the past few decades. Okay, this is really important, right? China. Eastern promise, the economic rise of China has been a compelling story for decades. Up until recently, we've only been able to get a preview of what Eastern superpower is capable of, and in the coming years, these promises will come to fruition at a scale that will still be baffling to many. So, if you look at cities in China, okay, look at Chengdu, okay, Chengdu's GDP is as big as the entire country of Norway. Okay. This is incredible. Um, Qingdao is as big as Hungary. Shenzhen is as big as Sweden. Dalian is as big as Finland. Hangzhou is as big as Greece. Like it's incredible, and it only gets bigger. It only just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, if you look at China, China is actually a huge powerhouse right now in the world economy. Their GDP is incredibly high compared to the rest of the world. Okay, so economic system. An economic system or economic order is a system of production, resource allocation, and distribution of goods and services within a society or a given geographic area. Okay, so four main types of economic systems: traditional economic system, command economic system, market economic system, and mixed system. Okay, so basically, economic system in easier terms, so it's a system of production, resource allocation, distribution of goods and services. So it's just basically how you it's just a system in a geographical location where you're building a product, marketing the product, and then distributing that product or good to different people within the society. Okay, so it's four main types of economic systems. So traditional economic system. The traditional economic system is based on goods, services, and work, all of which will follow certain established trends. So it relies heavily on people. It's very little division of labor or specialization. So traditional economy is very basic and the most ancient of the four types. Some of the world still function with this traditional system. It's commonly found in rural and settings and second and third world countries. Okay, so any countries that second or third world are still using this whole economic system where it's based on goods, services, and work, right? So hard labor. Command economic system. So there's a dominant centralized authority, usually a government that controls a huge portion of the economy, also known as planned system. Um, if an economy enjoys access to many resources, chances are that it may lean toward a command economic structure. In such a case, the government comes and exercise control over the resources. Ideally, centralized control covers valuable resources such as gold or oil. The people regulate other less important sectors of the economy, such as agriculture. Now, if you think about Saudi Arabia has the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which is the king and the prince and all that, who have centralized control over the gold and the oil. Okay, so they are the ones that make the decisions based on the oil. Okay, so that's a command economic system. So you have the government, the kingdom, who runs all the control of the oil and the gold. So what's a market economic system? So based on concept of free markets, in other words, there's very little government interference. The government exercises little control over resources and does not interfere with important segments of the economy. Instead, regulation comes from the people and the relationship between supply and demand. Okay. Mixed system. Mixed systems combine the characteristics of market and command economic. Okay, so whatever we learn in market and command, this is basically the mix. For this reason, mixed systems are also known as dual systems. This is actually sometimes the term is used to describe a market system under strict regulatory control. Many countries in the West follow a mixed system. Like I was just about to say, this sounds exactly like a North American system, right? Where you have a mixed system where command is for important like military and all that stuff is run by the government, but then there's a bunch of others that are run by the people, right? So mixed systems are the norm globally. Okay, so it's usually command and market mix, and that's basically the entire world runs off that. You have to have one central government that regulates all the big things, right? Like we said, the gold and the oil, and some of them also the energy, some of them also with the military, right? The military is big, so. And then you have the free markets that control all the other stuff, right? Like the agriculture. See, government doesn't control agriculture; the farmers do. Technology, stuff like that. Okay, so the World Bank. World Bank is basically uh, it's the biggest lender in the world, right? So it's the one that hands out money, and that's who the countries owe money to the World Bank. Okay, the World Bank's the one that makes all the money and everything. Okay, so sorry guys, my hair's all messed up today. Don't look at my hair. Okay, um, the World Bank classifies four income groups into the world economies. Okay, so there's high, upper middle, and low. Okay, so for example, the examples of the high, upper middle, and lower there. So Australia, Bahrain, Canada, Saudi Arabia are all high. Upper middle, Argentina, Brazil, China, Indonesia. Lower middle, Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Egypt. Lowest is Afghanistan, Ethiopia, and most African countries. Okay. Who are the 10 leading exporters in the world and what is their main export? Okay, so China, US, Germany, Japan, France, Korea, Netherlands, Italy, UK, and Canada. Okay, these are the 10 leading exporters in the world. And so China, what's their biggest one, right? They got technology, right? So broadcasting equipment, computers. So they obviously everyone knows all parts and all that stuff is all sent out to China, outsourced to China in order for them to be competitive, right? USA includes machinery, including computers. So the US builds a lot of computers and sends it out. They also do a lot. They're huge in military as well. Germany, we all know German vehicles. German vehicles are everywhere. BMW, Mercedes, Audi, all that stuff. Japan has huge vehicles as well. France, machinery, including computers. Korea, integrated circuits. Netherlands, machinery as well. Italy, Precision Machinery. As you see, a lot of these companies are exporting machinery, right? And all of them they're all different types of machinery, but they're all at the end of the day they're still machinery. UK is machinery including computers, and Canada is mineral fuels including oil. Okay, that's their main export. Those are the 10 leading exporters in the world. So what are exchange rates, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of exchange rates? So exchange rates, basically it measures the strength or weakness of a currency of a country. Okay, so for example, if Canada wanted to sell its product, so what are the advantages and disadvantages of exchange rates? Okay, so it depends on what side of the border you're on. Okay, so let's just say you are a Canadian company, right? Let's say we're in Canada. For us to sell into the U.S. would be more beneficial, more advantageous. Why? Because in the U.S., people are selling a piece of machinery for $10,000 US. That's how much it costs for them to make it, and they sell it for 10,000. Whatever their cost is, they sell for 10,000. In Canada, we can do the same thing, but we can sell it for cheaper in the U.S. because the exchange rate's 1.4 right now. So it would be, so you're paying 1.4 times. The advantage is if you're creating everything here, so for every $1, every one US dollar, every one Canadian dollar is 0.75 USD. Okay, so that means you could price lower than the guys in the US, which is what I do all the time, and I always get business in the US because my pricing is always lower. So if they're selling for 10,000, I'll come and sell it for 8,000. And they'll always go with me because my currency is, if I'm converting into US, I'm making more money. If I sell it for 10,000 US, I'm making much more money than them. So, but it also works as a disadvantage as well. So, for example, if I wanted to purchase things from the US as a Canadian, because our dollar is so weak, I'd be ending up paying a lot more to get that product versus if I was living in the US. Okay, so there's always advantages and disadvantages of exchange rates. You guys obviously know about this. You guys are coming from a different country. You know what exchange rates are. You do it all the time. You switch your money and stuff. So you understand what I'm talking about. What is the World Trade Organization? So the World Trade Organization is basically an organization that tries to regulate what goes on in the international trade world. Okay, so its main focus is to ensure that trade flows as smoothly, predictably, and freely as possible. So here are the main objectives, right? There's 6. Set and enforce rules for international trade. So they set and enforce the rules. They set the rules and make sure those rules are followed. To provide a forum for negotiating and monitoring further trade liberalization. To resolve trade disputes, increase transparency in decision-making process. To cooperate with other major international economic institutions. To help developing countries to benefit from the global trading system. Now, what is a North American Free Trade Agreement? So basically, in a nutshell, what it is Canada, Mexico, and US are in a agreement to make sure that no future laws will create any barriers to doing business. So no tariffs, no any of that stuff. They can freely do business together without any issues. Asia Pacific trade is basically the same thing, but it includes Bangladesh, China, India, PDR, Mongolia, Korea, Sri Lanka. Okay, these are all Asia Pacific, right? Basically same thing. Then we also have the Latin American Free Trade Association. There's 13 members there, which you guys can look up. I will ask you questions on this on your quizzes and your exams. I'll ask you, give me an example of 3 countries in the Latin American Free Trade Association, the Asia Pacific Trade Association, so I'll be asking all that stuff. European Union, you guys know about the European Union, I'm sure, because a lot of the companies have come together and now they're all working off a certain currency called a euro. Only England has moved out. They did the Brexit, which they just wanted to leave. They don't want to do that. So now it's just It's all these countries, and U.S. is and U.K. is out. They don't want to be part of that anymore. So they used to be 28, now there's 27. Top challenges faced by global organizations in Africa. So if a company wants to go global in Africa, they want to start a business in Africa, what are the issues that are going on in Africa right now that's really keeping businesses out of Africa? So first is terrorism, corrupted governments, dealing with construction permits, right? It's so hard for foreigners to get construction permits. Getting electricity takes months just to get a quote on electricity from top energy suppliers. Not enough educated talent out there. Damaged railroads and highways for transport, like they don't even take care of their infrastructure. Political instability, rapid change in government elections could change overnight, and it could literally destroy your business completely. If in the U.S. it takes a very long time for elections to take place and all that stuff, so hey, you know what? If this person comes into election, we're gonna lose this in our business, so that people can get ready. In Africa, it happens like overnight. Overnight, the government changed. The government says, "Nope, this is done. We're not gonna let this happen." They change the rules. There goes your business. Okay. For example, there was a tech company called GoKada in Nigeria, I believe it was, and it was a nice Bangladeshi boy who used to live here in New York. And he started up a ride sharing app in Nigeria, and he did it really well. People used to ride their scooters around and drop people off, and it was doing really well, and they were making good money, and everything was going great. And then overnight, the Nigerian government said, nope, we're banning all ride sharing apps in Nigeria overnight, and that completely destroyed his business because now it's illegal to do that. So that was very tough. That was very tough for them. It took a big hit. But that was the last. If you guys read up on Fahim Saleh, it's a very, very sad situation, and very sad situation for his family. So Fahim Saleh of GoKada, if you guys ever look through that. Okay, guys. So that was basically it. You guys have your assignment due today. Make sure you get it done. Make sure you read up on what's going on in the world. It's always good to know what's happening around the world. And I will see you guys in the live chat. All right, guys. Thank you.